Well, how you doing? Now it's
Good.
officially recording.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
No. Um, I'll focus. All right.
No worries at all. There's only two of us, so this shouldn't take terribly too long. But it's
Yeah.
actually great to sort of see you in person. It's really hard. You're really
Dark.
dark.
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah,
There's not much light in
it
here.
happens. That's all right. I'm surprised there's as much light down in my basement as there really is.
Yeah, I can see you great.
Yeah, it's because like I'm below like one of the only three lights in the whole entire basement. So.
Yeah. Gotcha. Cool, cool. Well, I hope this is good enough. Let's see what
Oh,
my
hey, that's perfect.
Okay,
The
cool.
fact that I can actually hear your voice and somewhat see your picture,
Yeah,
fantastic.
sweet.
The it
So
was a
how's it
little
doing?
harder doing the case study over the Google Docs. We got it done, but I think we missed out on a lot. I know the instructor. I think the instructor said that in the feedback. Did you get that as well?
I don't think I've checked it yet, but um, no, I haven't checked it yet.
It's
So I'm sure
okay.
he told me the same thing.
Yeah, probably. He said we missed out on a lot and that we should try to connect. And well, we're connecting. So, do you feel
Good. Well,
connected?
I feel connected.
All right.
Great.
Now that the connection's over, let's get down to business. How did you like the case study this week?
I thought it was interesting. There was a lot going on. Um, let's see. As I started to read it, I kind of, jumped to some conclusions right away. Like when he said um, that the JV team was beating the varsity team, I said, well, that's because I've been on team sports before, and I imagine um, unity is important in any team sport, but I imagine especially rowing, it's crucial. It's you can't win without it type deal. So I kind of that was my first conclusion as I was starting to read it was this team must not be unified because obviously they're talented, um, but they after reading a little bit about what goes into rowing and um, the synchronization that you have to have. I just thought plain and simple that they were getting beat because the JV team was unified and they weren't. So, and that obviously was the kind of I felt was the overall message of the story. I don't know how you felt about it.
I agree. The fact that the JV team, when I first read it, I thought the initial same thoughts, and I went along the lines of, well, maybe it's not the rowers, maybe it's the caller, maybe it's the person actually steering or doing the rudder and stuff like that. Like maybe that has something to do with it. But I think you hit it right on the nail that it takes everybody to be part of that it has to be always in unison, that they have to continuously predict what each other are going to do. And I think that comes with practice. Maybe I know the JV team wasn't as quote unquote experienced than the varsity team. That's why most people are on JV teams. But
Yeah,
it seems like they were very coherent.
yeah, definitely. And I thought one of the most interesting parts of this was towards the end when they had the team meeting at the end. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to it. I was just thinking about that. I'm trying to remember where it's at.
It's I think it's to the very last page.
These things are always really long,
Yeah,
and which is fantastic. It gives us a lot of information, but to to pull an analysis off of something like this, just it's challenging to me, just because it seems like a story. What am I supposed to analyze about the story?
Right. Yeah.
All right, the group meeting. Got it here.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
So there's a part in there towards the very end when they all start speaking, or someone speaks up. I can't remember his name. And he expresses that he's doing all the work. And then, everyone else kind of goes around and in a really contentious way just says they're doing all the, I feel like I'm doing all the work. And I thought that kind of summed up the story to me, was that they didn't realize that for some reason, something wasn't connecting. They didn't realize that something was not connecting in their minds, that they really needed to lean on each other rather than leaning on themselves, which I think that's probably the main thing I got out of it. Was we sometimes, if you apply it to our own lives, we tend to lean on ourselves too much, maybe, and don't learn to lean on others. So when they really needed to be interdependent, they were all trying to be independent, and it obviously, they can't win like that. So
I like how it says in that conversation that the first few focused on the team's general situation rather than particular members, but it's not until Joe, who was it says the most junior member, so he was the person that had the shortest amount of time on the team.
Yeah.
Said that I'm carrying everybody, I'm carrying this boat alone, and he was very angry about it. It changed. It seemed to change the whole dynamic of that conversation too. From going from, oh yeah, this is what's happening. This is, maybe the conversation went something along the lines of, this is how we can improve as a team together. But that one person came in and said, no, I'm doing all the work, so you guys need to stop. And that changed the whole dynamic. And then everybody started, it seems like everybody started backbiting a little bit to each other, and it escalated, it says. So it would have been interesting to be actually on that table and to see that conversation actually go down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
He was sick of the situation and couldn't wait for the season to be over. It seemed like a lot of negativity that they could have just used in a positive manner.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy too when I heard that, or read that, I guess. Was that their feeling was they just wanted it to be over. I think that really showed. They defeated themselves, obviously, and I guess that's a good transition into how do you fix that? Like, it's that disunion and that self-defeat. That's a really hard thing to overcome.
That was going to be my next question.
What was that?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. You beat me to the punch. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah, I think in my write-up I thought of a couple ways, not necessarily that they would work, but just throwing ideas out there was. I think the one I said that I liked the most was, and I don't even know if they would have done this or not, but somehow do an exercise with them to force them to observe their teammates, not just observe them, but observe something about their technique or something about what they're doing that they're doing really well. And if you can get each guy to observe someone else or observe the team and then give a report on something positive that their teammates are doing. Maybe that would spark some sort of positivity in the group. Again, I don't know if that would even be a thing that you could, with this negative group, I don't even know if you could get them to do some sort of exercise like that, but I don't know, maybe that something like that would work.
I like that idea. I think I think they should have two series of it, one out of the water and one in the water, and maybe even a third one where it doesn't even have anything to do with rowing at all.
Yeah,
The
I
fact
like
that
that.
they need to build trust within the group together, it means that they're probably not friends,
Yeah,
and they probably won't be friends unless they're forced to be friends first, and then
right.
they can be real friends later.
Yeah,
But without that unity, without that quote unquote trust, then they have absolutely nothing.
yeah,
So I really love that idea of finding positivity in one another, and I think that could be a really cool three-phase type of deal.
yeah. I like the idea of getting outside of rowing too, because I think they're um, I think right now the way they are, they associate rowing with only negative things. So I think getting an activity outside of rowing, maybe finding out some sort of group activity that they can all enjoy, but that does require teamwork at the same time. I think that would be really good.
Good old trust exercise or two, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe like
Send them
walking
on
the
a coke
tightrope.
course.
Yeah. I
Have you
think
ever done one of those coke courses before?
like the tightrope stuff.
Yeah, like the tightrope ones, and you have this huge wall you have to get everybody over, that kind of obstacle course type
Oh
thing.
yeah, that would be. I've done. There's one where you take a. Um, I don't know if you've ever done this one. It's like you. It's a volleyball net except with large holes in them, and
All right,
maybe that's not a good way to explain it. Not a volleyball net.
I'm going with it. Just roll with it.
I'm just thinking of volleyball net because I think that's how we did it. We took down the volleyball net and then put up this other net that had these giant holes in them all over the place. And the idea was to get everybody through onto the other side without touching the net around it. And once you used one hole, so some of the holes were really big and then some of them were smaller. Once you used one hole, they put a like a clothes hanger on that, and you couldn't use that hole anymore. It
More.
was a pretty cool exercise. You got to figure out how to get everyone onto the other side.
That's really cool. I've never heard of something like that. I've been watching a show recently called American Grit,
Okay.
and have you heard of that show before?
I don't think so.
It's basically a show about these four military people, take four people on their team, and they have to go through different challenges and through what they call evolutions.
Uh huh.
And those evolutions test everything about that team and how everything goes. And then John Cena, if you're familiar with him, he's the
Yeah.
host. And there's a Navy SEAL, a Army Ranger, a Marine, and um, somebody else. There's four of them. I can't remember, but in the first couple episodes there, it's been running for I think 5 or 6 episodes now, and there was one team for 4 straight straight weeks that won every single evolution, some by quite a bit. And
Yeah.
it goes back to this concept of they were working together, and they took all of their skills, because they each had different skills and different sets in their lives, because they just were all kind of thrown together in a team, and they took it all together and then unified themselves and beat all these other teams. And then when these other teams lost, they were kind of like this JV team was. They're beating up on themselves and blaming each other
Hmm.
to say, why aren't you doing it? No, I'm doing this. And that's a wonderful example of this case study as well. I know it's on a different level, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what I connected with it when I read through it.
Yeah, that's an awesome example. That's perfect. For sure.
And then Team Noah, the one that was winning them all, lost one, and then they lost somebody, because once you lose an evolution, you have to send somebody to this huge obstacle course, and that person, one of them eventually gives up because their body gets exhausted and they have to go home. So the perfect team just got broke up.
Oh, that's too bad.
You should look it up. It's actually a really interesting show. It's called American Grit.
American Grit. Cool. Yeah, I'll look that up. That'll be awesome. Yeah,
So, oh,
I liked
go
the
ahead.
JV. I liked the JV team in the story too. Anyways, that just reminded me of it. Because obviously they were the less talented, but you could tell just at the end there when they were chanting and after they won, and you could just tell that they won with heart, not necessarily with talent. And they liked each other, and they were unified. It was pretty kind of a cool contrast in the story. Anyways,
So the next question here is the way that the people were measured. It talks about how the coach, if you putting the right measures in place to help the team, is what I think this question is asking. Bless you.
thank you. Sorry, what was that? If the coach was measuring
If the,
correctly,
yeah,
basically?
is the coach putting the right measures in place to have the best team? Would it be beneficial? Obviously, we read through the whole entire study, but
Yeah.
would it have been beneficial to merge the two teams, or to, obviously it was to keep the two teams separate because the JV team are rock stars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. At first I was thinking, the coach kind of didn't necessarily measure the team correctly, or, missed something. But then after reading the whole thing, I and obviously he's a coach. He's been a coach for a long time and knows what he's doing. I felt that he didn't necessarily do anything wrong. This was just kind of a extraordinary circumstance, kind of a new thing for him. So obviously something he's never experienced in all his years coaching. But I think moving forward, he's going to do it differently because of this experience, for sure. But I wouldn't necessarily critique the way he did it. Because he mixed, he did measure how well everybody worked together. If you read in there, he tried to measure synchronization and teamwork and everything like that as best as he could, and it was very extensive. The process, from what I understood. But I think going forward, he might implicate other team building activities, maybe like we were talking about, maybe even outside of rowing, to determine to further determine the best team, or the best group of guys that would be the varsity team. So
Yeah, I think it has to come down to a lot in sports like this. I was a wrestler for my middle school and high school career, and it was an individual sport, but it was a team sport as well. It's a lot different than rowing, but the connection I want to make here is that it takes a lot of self-determination and a lot of heart to be able to not only perform to the best of your ability, but that person rowing next to you to have them perform to their best ability, to have that cohesion and stuff. I can't remember exactly where I was going with that. I had a wonderful example in my head and I lost it. It was going to be fantastic, Nate. Fantastic.
I'll take your word for it.
All right, good. I'll eventually think about it, and I'll text it to you. Be like, this is what I was gonna say. It's fantastic. but to be able to I guess connect with one another, but being separate all at the same time, that takes your own character. That's where I was going with this. It takes character, and it takes your own sense of well-being to be able to be not only individually good, but coherently good and unified. So if you don't believe in yourself, maybe some of these people on the varsity team didn't even believe in themselves. Maybe they thought that somebody else on the team was better, was stronger, and that there's a lot of hypotheticals I'm throwing in, but we don't have a lot here. And maybe that was the discord. They thought that they weren't the best, or a few people thought they were the best and were the only ones.
Yeah, could be. Like
there's a lot of things.
Yeah, that's like it says in the case study. The most experienced coaches said psychological factors were the most important when it comes to a winning team. So, yeah, definitely. Kind of like I played baseball growing up, and they always said.
I just couldn't understand it. I never played it, but I just couldn't get behind it.
I don't blame you.
On.
It's when people say they don't like baseball or don't get it, I kind of like, even though I love baseball, I totally understand because there's so much.
My boss is a baseball fanatic,
right.
And I'm trying to learn so I can talk to him about it. But I'm like, dude, you hit a really fast ball, it probably didn't hurt your hands, because every time I hit a ball going really fast, it hurt my hands. But sorry, go on with your story. It's gonna be fantastic.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, in baseball there's a saying, maybe you've heard it, maybe you can tell your boss, but it says baseball's 90% mental, which is true. The real saying, well, have you heard of Yogi Berra?
I have, yep.
Okay, he has a bunch of ridiculous sayings, and one of his is half of baseball is 90% mental. So maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know.
Well, let's just call it that.
Okay.
I remember was it the end of last year or the beginning of this year that he passed away?
I think it was the end of last year.
I remember when he died, because there was a bunch of people on Facebook posting Yogi Bear pictures and talking about picnic baskets and baseball, and I was like, that's okay.
He was like 90 years old, so I think, if I remember right.
He played for quite a long time, but quite a long time ago.
Yeah. But I mean, he was always a part of baseball, so I guess that's why he kind of. And he was good. He was a all-timer. Anyways.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, can to wrap this up, I don't even know what time it is. It's been about a half hour or so.
Yeah,
Um,
we're at about a half hour.
yeah. Any like gospel connections that you thought of while you were reading this?
Sure, yeah. I think just the unity part, that's so much, that ties so much into the gospel. Um,
For sure.
yeah, we have to, um, there's a scripture, if you're not one, you're not mine. Um, and let's see, there's a lot of other scriptures that just slip through my mind. But anyways, just unifying and trusting in others, um, trusting in the Savior, all those things tie into this
Yeah.
story. So
The one scripture that I thought of when I was thinking about like how there could be more unity and stuff like that was when Christ was telling the apostles that um, if you lose your life for my sake, then it will be victory for you, basically. And and I thought about how if these rowers lose themselves to the unity of the team, then they will gain overall victory. And I thought about that gospel connection of how we can lose ourselves for the greater good.
that's awesome. I think we should end on that. I love, that's probably my favorite scripture over the past month. That's a great one.
Yeah, and I butchered the quote too. Even the paraphrase was bad.
I've got it on my phone. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. So
Yeah.
there
All
it
right.
is.
Well, thank you very much for the quote there. You were awesome, Nate. Sorry it took so long to figure out how in the world to even use this fancy technology future stuff.
No, you did great, man. And it was perfect because I was a little bit late. Checked my phone and I was like, oh my gosh, it's 8:05. Okay.
Yeah. No worries, no worries. I it actually worked out really nice tonight because I don't have to go in tomorrow until like 2 o'clock at work.
Nice.
Granted, I got to stay till midnight, but
Yeah.
um, I have to force myself to stay up a little bit later tonight. So this kind of helped because otherwise I'd just be upstairs trying to fall asleep because I've been up since 5.
Wow. Yeah, I've been up since 6. So I feel your pain.
Yeah, but it's only 8 there.
I know
Well,
that's
no,
true. Well, it's
almost
almost
9. It's almost 10 here.
that's yeah. You're definitely um, you're definitely more tired than me.
No, I barely did anything at work today. I work at a car rental company,
Okay.
and today I was just behind the counter having people yell at me. So I didn't do anything physical.
Hey, that's an emotional toll, though.
Yeah, it is. Well, everybody works through their own little emotional tolls. Well, what do you do for a job right now, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm a loan officer at a mortgage company.
Wow,
So
you deal with more mental stress than I have to.
it's a lot. It's a lot of stress. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of deadlines. A lot of
You deal with people trying to get houses and stuff like that. It's a little more stressful than me trying to hook them up with a car for a weekend or a week and
yeah. It's
trying to convince them that that's a good price.
I'm not gonna lie. It's a stressful job, but I enjoy it. I find myself in stressful jobs a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
why.
the key thing is that you enjoy it.
I do.
That's the whole
I enjoy
point of it.
parts of it, not every part, but
No, it's one or all. It's like you can't have a smorgasbord of work, are you, Nate?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's definitely different parts of things. There's positions that I've had in the past that I kind of wish I would have just like stuck with. Be like, hey, I probably would have been really good at that if I wouldn't have had stupidity on my side. But
I know. I'm right there with you.
well, any closing comments or anything, Nate? You're awesome.
You're awesome too, man. Let's well, we can shoot for Thursday nights, and we'll
Yeah.
talk during the week. And if it doesn't work, we'll switch it up. But yeah, this works for me well. So
All right, cool. Thursdays at 8 sound good?
yeah,
All right, so it would be yeah, 8 your time, 9 my time.
yeah, that's fine with me. That will work.
All right, perfect. All right, I will get everything submitted as soon as I figure out how, and we'll be good.
Cool.
All right,
Thanks, man.
we'll see you next week and talk to you throughout the week.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.